Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Gem Live, and welcome back to another video. I am here again with my roommate Jalen, and the trade deadline just ended for the NBA, and it was crazy. But like with any trade, there's going to be winners and losers. So we're going to go over the top 3 winners and the top 3 losers of this trade deadline. All right, and so for our first winner, we have the Dallas Mavericks. They acquired Kristaps Porzingis, the biggest one. They also got Tim Hardaway and Trey Burke. And the only thing they lost is Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and a couple of first-round picks. And let me tell you why this is the first winner of the day. So first of all, the only thing that kind of sucks that they lost is the 2 first-round picks. But they acquired a generational talent, a 7'3" unicorn in Kristaps Porzingis. Dennis Smith Jr., he was told that he wanted to be out of Dallas anyways. DeAndre Jordan and Wesley Matthews, both contracts ended at the end of this year, and neither of them were going to return. So they pretty much got Kristaps to pair up with Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki for almost nothing, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all there. Like, we've all seen what Luka's been doing this year, and then having him paired up with Porzingis next year, like, I can't even imagine how good they'll be together. And
hopefully Dirk can show them both like some tricks. Like, I'd be surprised if Luka's not learning a ton from Dirk right now, and Kristaps is already learning. The next winner, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, who got Tobias Harris and Jonathan Simmons. They didn't lose much. They did lose Markelle Fultz, which I'm a little surprised. They didn't keep him along to see how he was going to do. They're all about the process, but
yeah, I honestly think this is one of the best starting fives in the league, really. They have Joel Embiid, who's a top center. Ben Simmons, who, I mean, he can't shoot, but he's still a top point guard.
Hey, he pulled up from 3 the other day.
Didn't make it, but, he's making some progress. And then you got Tobias Harris, which is a really good addition because his efficiency rating is really high, and he doesn't need to touch the ball a lot. So yeah. He fits in really well with them, and he's not going to take too many touches from Jimmy Butler, who has been complaining about that. But I feel like this whole unit going together is going to be really good. They're going to make a strong push in the playoffs.
And you have J.J. Redick lighting it up from 3, which they've been lacking. They're all good defensive players, which is crazy. And so I think since LeBron has left the East and moved to the West, it's a race to see who's going to come out of the East. And now we're seeing all these teams are making moves, and we're going to see why some of these teams are losers later on.
Yeah.
Our third and final winner for the day are the Milwaukee Bucks, who already had the best, I think they were the number 1 seed in the East, right?
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed.
So they're the number 1 seed in the East, and they acquired Nikola Mirotic, who, as I've not seen too much of him. I watched him a lot in the playoffs last year, where he absolutely went off. Milwaukee is a great 3-point shooting team already. They have great length, great athleticism. They have Giannis, who can take it to the hole on anyone, and they just added another weapon to light it up from 3, plays good defense, and they didn't get him for much at all. I can't believe they came out with this. I can't believe the Pelicans accepted this trade, but they wouldn't accept the Lakers with everything they're offering for AD. So,
and the crazy thing about this Bucks trade is that they have so much length on the court now. Like, Giannis is, 6'11".
Yeah.
Brook Lopez is... I was watching a Bucks
7-foot Curry.
Yeah, he's pulling up from dang near half court sometimes. It's crazy. And just seeing how good this team is going to be, especially after, a tough loss in the playoffs last year, I'm really excited for the Bucks this year.
Yeah, and I would say the 76ers would be the best team in the East, but now that the Bucks have made this move, I want to see how they're both playing out. I know the 76ers are already 3-0 with their new squad, looking pretty good. But I'm excited for this matchup. This could be a really interesting Eastern Conference Finals matchup. And one last thing, we have an honorable mention is the Raptors, because they pretty much traded some not really important players, some trash players, and they got Marc Gasol, which made them that much better. They upgraded the center position, which I thought was huge for them, and so they didn't make our top 3, but they did get honorable mention. Now, moving on to the losers of this trade. Number 1, we have the Lakers. They couldn't get it done. They were so upfront, they were so open and honest that they would do almost whatever it took to get Anthony Davis. Still couldn't get it done with all their young assets, with all the desperation, with LeBron on their team. Just now they have to wait a whole nother year. They wasted this year with LeBron essentially.
I really think the terrible thing about this trade, or it not happening is, like you said, like they have to wait another year. LeBron's gonna waste another year of his career. He's already
Put that back on.
He's already suffered like one of his worst injuries this year with the groin. Who knows if it'll happen again next year?
Right.
And like I hate to say it, but eventually he's gonna decline.
Right.
So every season matters at this point. And the fact that
they're not. If the playoffs started right now, they're not in it.
yeah, ooh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Which is crazy. And like, so LeBron didn't do amazing with everyone he had on team. Obviously, the team without LeBron was garbage. Yeah. And so now, if they can sneak their way into the playoffs, they're playing a team like the Grizzlies or Warriors first round. So, I hate to say it, but this is almost like a wasted year with LeBron if they don't get Anthony Davis, which they didn't. And so this is why they're our number one loser.
And I feel like another thing like people don't really understand is like, of course the Pelicans were going to try to rob them for everything they own. Like they're in the Western Conference. Their goal is to win too. They're not just going to give Anthony Davis up for nothing. Like 4 first-round picks and pretty much their entire young core. Like, it's crazy, but they had to do it.
Yeah, and now I think they're going to get a lot less for Anthony Davis, and they'd get fined. I saw they'd get fined $100,000 for every game they sat him if they did that. Yikes. So I hate to put like winners losers on opposite sides or two losers for the same trade, but I would put the Pelicans in this as a loser because they almost had it all. They almost had 4 really good NBA starting players and a couple of picks for someone who doesn't even want to be on the team anymore, and they didn't do it. That's an L for me, but they're not on the list. So moving on to number 2, we have the New York Knicks, and this is a big loss, but it's an if loss. So if they don't get 2 max players next year, this is probably the biggest L because they got a generational talent in Kristaps Porzingis, and they traded away for people that probably won't even be there in a year or two. Yeah. And so they pretty much traded for cap space. And if they don't get KD, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, they need 2 of them. Even if they get 1, you're pretty much replacing Porzingis. So they need 2. And if they don't get 2, this is the biggest loss of the trade deadline.
Yeah. Like they like you said, they for sure need 2 All-Stars because the way the East is stacked up right now, like 1 All-Star on an okay Knicks team is not going to do anything.
And then they trade away Porzingis, but that was the attraction point to get these other All-Stars there.
Yeah.
Like they're not just going to you're not going to get an all-star like KD to come and run the show by himself with a bunch of role players. Like KD joined the Warriors, DeMarcus joined the and now Kristaps even joined the Mavericks because of Luka. So like like you need stuff. So they need to get 2 people next summer or they're done. And our final loss of the day is the Boston Celtics. Like we said before, LeBron James leaving the East, it's an open race for anyone to make it to the finals. And we were saying that everyone's making moves, and the Celtics are 4th, 5th seed in the East, and they didn't make any with all their assets.
Yeah, the top 4 teams got a lot better. Well, actually no, aren't the Pacers in the top 3 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still playing good without Victor Oladipo, and like they didn't make any moves either. But it's just like the Celtics had so many picks for so long. They sat on them. They kept saying they're gonna pull the trigger. Yeah, they got Kyrie Irving, but they need more if they want to win, especially with the Bucks surging, the Raptors surging, the Sixers surging. All these teams have young talent, and their young talent is better than the current Celtics' young talent. And another thing, they might lose Kyrie this summer.
Right, yeah. So their team was good enough to make the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
Every other team got better. They haven't. They've actually gotten worse integrating Gordon Hayward in their lineup. But 1, they didn't get anyone. 2, AD has openly said, or his dad said for him, he doesn't want him in Boston because they have no loyalty, what they did with Isaiah Thomas. And then 3, Kyrie might not stay. So not only they're not making moves, they're not getting the player everyone wants right now, even though they're in the best position to. They have so many young assets to get Anthony Davis. They would be the number 1. But now that they said, this is why I thought he was going to LA. I don't know. Like the only way the Pelicans would say no to LA is to say yes to Boston to get more, to get like a Jason Tatum or someone like that. But none of that happened. So thank you guys so much for watching. These are our top 3 winners and losers of the NBA trade deadline. I'm so excited to see how the All-Star break goes and afterwards and get into the playoffs. We will keep you updated. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.